the time you realize what's been stolen from you, it might already be too late. The data I'm about to share will shake you to your core, because it reveals that what you think is harmless behavior is actually rewiring your brain in ways that science is only beginning to understand. Let me start with a number that will blow your mind: $6.6 billion. That's how much adult content creators generated in 2024 alone. To put that in perspective, that's more than the entire NBA's revenue of $4.9 billion. Think about that for a moment. An industry built on exploiting human desire is now bigger than one of the world's most popular sports. But here's what's truly disturbing. Every single person watching this video has contributed to that number in some way, whether directly or indirectly, through views, clicks, or the ripple effects of an economy built on instant gratification. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, because what I'm about to reveal isn't just about money. It's about the systematic destruction of human potential happening right under our noses. I'll never forget the moment I realized I'd been living a lie. I was 23, sitting in my apartment at 2 a.m., staring at my phone screen with that familiar feeling of emptiness washing over me. Again, I had just wasted 3 hours of my life, and for what? A few seconds of synthetic pleasure that left me feeling more hollow than when I started. That's when it hit me. I wasn't in control. I thought I was making choices, but something else was making them for me. Something deeper, more primal, and infinitely more dangerous than I had ever imagined. See, when I was younger, I had this dream. I wanted to become a professional soccer player. I was good, really good. I had the talent, the drive, the opportunity. But there was this moment that changed everything, and I didn't even realize it at the time. I was about 13, riding to a soccer match with my friend and his father. This man, who had seen dozens of young players come and go, turned to us and said something that would haunt me for years. "Boys, if you really want to make it as professionals, remember one thing. Don't let lust and desires distract you from your goal." My friend and I looked at each other and laughed. We were just kids. What did we know about lust? What did we know about how it could destroy dreams before they even had a chance to take root? But that man knew something we didn't. He had seen it happen before. Talented young men, full of potential, slowly losing their edge, their focus, their fire, not because they lacked ability, but because they had never learned to master the most powerful force in human psychology. Here's what that father understood that most people never learn. Lust isn't just about physical desire. It's about the complete hijacking of your brain's reward system. And modern science has proven that this hijacking is far more devastating than we ever imagined. Dr. Gary Wilson, a neuroscientist who has spent decades studying addiction, discovered something shocking. Excessive exposure to sexual stimuli literally rewires your brain's dopamine pathways. But here's the part that will terrify you. It doesn't just affect your sexual behavior. It affects everything. Your motivation to pursue goals, your ability to focus on difficult tasks, your capacity to form meaningful relationships, your very sense of what's real and what's fantasy. All of it becomes compromised when your brain's reward system is constantly flooded with artificial stimulation. But wait, there's something even more sinister happening here. Something that the billion-dollar industries profiting from your destruction don't want you to know. Your brain has a chemical called dopamine. You probably heard of it. But what most people don't understand is that dopamine isn't the pleasure chemical. It's the anticipation chemical. It's what makes you crave, seek, and desperately want something. And here's the cruel trick. The more you feed this system artificial rewards, the less capable it becomes of finding satisfaction in real accomplishments. It's like turning up the volume on a stereo until normal sounds become inaudible. A landmark study published in the Journal of Behavioral Addictions found that men who consumed adult content regularly showed decreased activation in the brain's reward circuitry. Translation: Their brains literally became less capable of feeling satisfaction from normal, healthy activities. But the real tragedy isn't just what this does to your brain. It's what it steals from your life. Every hour you spend trapped in this cycle is an hour you're not building your future, developing your skills, or creating meaningful connections with real people. Think about it. You're sitting alone in a dark room, staring at a screen, looking at people you don't know and who don't know you exist. How did we get here? How did we convince ourselves that this was normal, healthy, or fulfilling? But here's what's really going to shock you. The damage doesn't stop with your brain chemistry. It infiltrates every aspect of your life in ways you never expected. Your relationships begin to suffer because your brain starts comparing real people to the impossible standards you've been feeding it. Real intimacy becomes difficult because you've trained your mind to expect instant gratification without emotional investment. Your career stagnates because the same neural pathways that drive motivation and ambition are being constantly depleted by artificial rewards. Why would your brain push you to work hard for delayed gratification when it's been conditioned to expect immediate pleasure? Your physical health deteriorates because the shame and secrecy create chronic stress, which floods your system with cortisol, the hormone that breaks down muscle, increases fat storage, and weakens your immune system. But perhaps most tragic of all, your dreams begin to fade, not because you lose a desire to achieve them, but because your brain loses the ability to sustain the focused effort required to make them real. I want you to stop and think about this for a moment. What dreams have you let slip away? What goals have you abandoned? What version of yourself have you given up on because it seemed too difficult, too distant, too impossible? Now comes the moment that will determine everything. I want you to look in the mirror, literally, if there's one nearby, or metaphorically if there isn't. Look into your own eyes and ask yourself this question. Am I living a life I truly want? Not the life you think you should want. Not the life others expect you to want. But the life that sets your soul on fire, that makes you excited to wake up each morning, that fills you with purpose and meaning. If the answer is no, then listen closely to what I'm about to tell you. The reason most people never escape this trap isn't because they lack willpower or strength. It's because they're fighting the wrong battle. They're trying to eliminate desire instead of learning to channel it. They're treating the symptoms instead of addressing the root cause. The strongest people in the world aren't those who never feel temptation. They're those who feel it intensely and choose to direct that energy towards something greater. A groundbreaking study from Stanford University revealed something that completely transforms how we understand willpower. Researchers found that people who viewed their urges as energy to be redirected rather than enemies to be defeated were 300% more successful at achieving their goals. Think about that. The same energy that drives lust, that primal, powerful force, can be transformed into fuel for extraordinary achievement, but only if you understand how to harness it. Ancient philosophers knew the secret. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you'll find strength." But modern neuroscience has proven that this isn't just philosophy, it's biological fact. When you learn to pause between impulse and action, you literally strengthen the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for decision-making, long-term planning, and self-control. Every time you feel temptation and choose not to act on it, you're building mental muscle. So, how do you actually do this? How do you take the most powerful drive in human psychology and turn it into your greatest asset? First, you need to understand the trigger patterns. Most people think lust strikes randomly, but research from the University of Cambridge shows that 87% of episodes follow predictable patterns, specific times of day, emotional states, or environmental cues. When you identify your patterns, you can intercept them before they take control. The moment you feel that familiar urge rising, instead of fighting it or giving into it. You ask yourself 3 questions. What is this energy trying to tell me? What do I really need right now? How can I channel this power toward my goals? Sometimes that energy is telling you you're lonely, so you reach out to a friend. Sometimes it's telling you you're stressed, so you go for a run. Sometimes it's telling you you're avoiding something difficult, so you tackle that hard task you've been putting off. The transformation happens when you realize that the same intensity that drives lust is the same intensity that can drive greatness. Champions in every field, athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, all have one thing in common. They've learned to channel their primal energy toward their purpose. Imagine what your life could look like if you mastered this. Picture yourself 6 months from now, having redirected all that wasted energy into building something extraordinary. Instead of feeling drained and empty after giving in to impulses, you feel energized and powerful because you've channeled that force into your goals. Instead of hiding in shame, you walk with confidence because you know your control over your own mind. Your relationships deepen because you're fully present with real people instead of distracted by fantasies. Your work becomes more meaningful because you have the focus and drive to pursue what truly matters to you. Most importantly, you become the person you always knew you could be. Not because you eliminated your desires, but because you learned to direct them toward your highest purpose. This isn't just motivational speaking. This is the documented experience of thousands of people who have made this transformation. The research is clear. When you learn to harness your sexual energy instead of depleting it, you gain access to a source of power that most people never tap into. But here's the brutal truth. Most people will never do this. They'll watch this video, feel inspired for a few minutes, and then go right back to their old patterns. They'll choose the easy path of instant gratification over the challenging path of delayed reward. And that's exactly why the few who do make this change become extraordinary. In a world full of people who are slaves to their impulses, those who master their desires become kings. The question isn't whether you can do this. The question is whether you will. Because right now, at this moment, you have a choice to make. You can close this video and continue living the same life you've been living, or you can commit to something greater. If you choose the path of transformation, know that it won't be easy. You'll face moments of weakness, setbacks, and doubt. But every time you choose your purpose over your impulses, you'll become stronger. Every time you redirect that energy toward your goals, you'll move closer to the life you truly want. If this video has opened your eyes to what's possible, then your journey is just beginning. Hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you can be notified when we drop a video. Don't forget to like and drop a comment about what you think. But more importantly, make a commitment right now. Not to me, not to anyone else, but to yourself. Commit to becoming the person you know you're capable of being. Your dreams are waiting and they're worth fighting for.